It's day 23 of my car camping adventure across the U.S. Northwest, and today we take a bucket list tour of Glacier National Park. So grab your favorite drink and get ready for story time. It's our bus for the day. Super cozy.
Does everybody have their park pass?
Yes.
Before I drive out of here and you're like, it's in my car.
Hey, good morning, Denise. I got 12 people. All right, they've got their passes ready to show you. We're getting up to Rising Sun here in just a minute. Our goal is to try to meet the other buses down to Lake McDonald.
Driving the Going to the Sun Road is the #1 thing to do in Glacier. If you only have one day, this is what you do. The problem is, this drive is so popular, the park had to implement a reservation system to limit the number of cars so as not to clog up the road. Reservations for this drive are on a first-come, first-served basis online, but exactly when time slots would be released to the public wasn't clear to me when we were planning our trip. There was an option to go in early before 6 a.m. or later after 4 p.m. without a reservation, except that road construction was interfering with that, so there was no guarantee that would work for us.
You want to see a ton of them? When I get up there after about 7 o'clock, you guys see something, say something. I can't come to a complete stop. Got to keep my focus pretty much on the road. On the right-hand side here.
So there was this chance that we wouldn't be able to get a reservation, and since we only had that one full Saturday in the park, we looked into doing a bus tour. And the iconic red bus tour looked like the best way for us to guarantee that we'd be able to see this amazing site. And honestly, not having to drive or look for parking and learning about park history all along the way, huge bonus. Now, this isn't sponsored in any way. We bought these tickets ourselves. Were they worth the money? I'll let you know at the end. Our guide's name was Kurt, and Kurt's a jammer. That's what they call the folks that drive these buses, and I'll explain why in a bit.
Nice spot. If you guys have some time on your own, you're going to be out here. See if you can find parking. It's a pretty cool gorge. It's about 400 feet long.
Glacier was established as a national park on May 11, 1910, and became Waterton Glacier International Peace Park in 1932. It was designated a World Heritage Site in 1995. There are over 1 million acres in the park, covering 1,583 square miles with 175 mountains, the highest being Mount Cleveland at 10,448 feet or 3,190 meters. There are 26 glaciers, the largest being Harrison Glacier at 1.7 million square meters, and Kurt, our guide, told us that they're all shrinking in size at about the rate that a human fingernail grows.
Oh, rainbow! Got it!
There are 131 named lakes in the park and 631 lakes without names. The largest is Lake McDonald at 9.4 miles long, 1.5 miles wide, and 464 feet deep.
Coming up to Logan Pass, which is going to be the highest spot in elevation that we're going to be on today. Like one of the early drivers
There are 745.9 miles of hiking trails in the park, including 110 miles of the Continental Divide Trail, which ends in Canada, a section which I hope to hike one day. The park has 24 species of fish, 71 different kinds of mammals, 276 documented species of birds, and 1,990 species of plants.
We got 1.1 million acres here, 1,600 square miles. So that's why I always tell people when they ask if we're going to see wildlife, it's like we only have about 350 grizzly bears, about the same amount of black brown bears in the park.
So if you happen to see one, count yourself lucky. Do we get lucky on this trip? Keep watching to find out.
I think they found out what I was up to.
So
So we're at Logan Pass, elevation 6,600 feet. Great tour so far. We are racing to get to lunch before all the sandwiches run out, because apparently they do. Ted doesn't care because he's on his diet. All he can eat are bars anyway. But yeah, it's gorgeous up here. There's so much to take pictures of. I just don't even know where to begin.
It's like Sound of Music.
It is, isn't it?
The Alps, kind of.
The hills are
We just
alive
need some
with the
gondolas,
sound
and
of
punitels, and Swiss chocolate.
La, 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 la.
And
Hills are alive with the sound of music.
Yeah,
we need some
chocolate.
fondue.
Oh, flowers.
I'll be right there.
Come get these ground squirrels with your awesome lens.
This one's food.
So cute. We're not feeding you. No. You gotta eat berries and nuts and stuff. Oh my gosh, you are way too tame. You'd be afraid of us. Yeah, this is the reality. Waiting for parking, circling for parking, hoping to get parking. Even with the reservation, it's pretty crowded. Oh, it's bighorn sheep, like right there, a whole herd. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Receiving over 3 million visitors in a typical year, the park features 8 Class A campgrounds with 943 sites, 5 Class B campgrounds with 61 sites, and roughly 300 guest rooms between its 2 incredible park lodges at Lake McDonald and Mini Glacier.
Last one. You gonna do it, guys? I gotta know. You gotta stand here and pose for pictures. I'm like so sexy. Too sexy for the pasture. Too sexy for the pasture. I'm such a master.
I'm too sexy for my car.
Okay, one more, because you can never have too many animal pictures. The girls are down the hill.
Going to the Sun Road was one of the first National Park Service roadways specifically designed to accommodate automobile tourists. The 51-mile road takes you past pristine glacial lakes, beautiful alpine forests, and huge sheer cliffs. The road had a significant impact on road design policy throughout the national park system, and it's an excellent example of sensitivity to topography and scenic features.
Jammer Central.
Bridges, retaining walls, and guardrails were all made of native materials. Large blasts of explosives were not allowed since it would cause too much destruction to the landscape with only small blasts used.
Deer, see that? Big ears.
Going to the Sun Road was an amazing feat of engineering because of the many obstacles faced by engineers and laborers during construction of the winding road. Sheer cliffs, short construction seasons, 60-foot snowdrifts, and tons of solid rock made road building across the Continental Divide a unique challenge.
Some of these sections here kind of hang out and they're not 8 feet wide. This bus is 25 feet long, 8 feet 1 inches wide, 7 tons. It is the longest vehicle on the road. They've got a 21-foot maximum length for vehicles and 10 feet high. It's just as high as your vehicle needs to be allowed to drive on the road.
In 1910, when the park was established, only a few miles of rough wagon roads existed. Park Superintendent William Logan envisioned building a trans-mountain road across the park. Congress provided the first appropriation to construct the road in 1921, which was used to begin construction at both ends. Frank Kitteridge of the Bureau of Public Roads, a predecessor agency to the Federal Highway Administration, directed the survey for the road in 1924, mapping out 21 miles over the Continental Divide.
Is it pretty typical to have an avalanche every winter?
Oh yeah, they've got lots of avalanches happening out here.
Kittredge and his team of 32 men often climbed 3,000 feet each morning to get survey sites, walking along narrow ledges and hanging over cliffs by ropes to take many of the measurements. In 1925, Stephen Mather, the first director of the National Park Service, signed an agreement with the agency to supervise road construction in all national parks, thus beginning a long and constructive partnership between the Federal Highway Authority and the National Park Service.
Until 1980, they said that the females were too distracting to the male drivers. True story.
Park Service landscape architects, together with federal engineers, created the specifications for the road, working to blend it into the surrounding environment as much as possible. Kurt told us that only 3 men died building this road. 2 were killed by rockfall and 1 fell off a rope. Given the precarious nature of this road, it's amazing there weren't more.
See, you notice how those other jammers, they park in the sun down there? I'm parking in the shade. Seats get hot.
Beauty, these are the classic rockers. Come sit down. Watch the world go by.
Sitting all day.
I know, just let me sit in this rocking chair. Oh wait, let's get the rocking. Oh, this is the worst rocking chair ever. This is the rocking chair experience at the national park. I think it's stuck on a rock. It's not exactly the romantic thing I thought it would be. These are so adorable. Okay, so our tour on the Road to the Sun, or whatever it's called, started in St. Mary Village, and we've done this whole amazing drive, and we really need to come back and do it ourselves early before the crowds get here. And now we've stopped at Lake McDonald for lunch. I am looking for the general store. You have an option to sit down and have lunch in the dining room, but it looked really crowded. Service is sometimes slow because everybody's understaffed. I'd rather take pictures and video and get a snack at the general store. So Ted's gone over there because he's like super hungry. So I am heading over there now to see if there's anything I want to snack on. Camp store dead ahead.
What about this?
This is the deli. Snack stuff. Wine, cold sodas for my cutie, beef jerky, elk jerky, and kettle chips. Oh, and ice cream. Forbidden fruit. I can't eat that because of Ted's diet.
Who knows?
Good thing. Oh, I'm not paying attention. What happened here? What? No theories? This giant weird hole in this tree. What happened? Tell me. Must make feet look perfect. This is how we get to be the 1%.
How's that?
99% of the
I'm living
population
here.
is now south of us in the U.S.
I am king of the world, cutie.
Must be something.
We got McDonald balls here. I never get to pull in here,
Wow.
especially on a Saturday.
Going to the Sun Road was completed on July 15, 1933, after more than 2 decades of planning and construction. Sections built before 1925 were reconstructed using New Deal public works funding throughout the 1930s to improved standards. In 1938, portions of the road were paved with asphalt. Following an interruption in paving due to World War II, by the end of 1952, the road was paved in its entirety. The road is only open for a short time each year due to snow. This year, it opened late on July 13th and closed September 30th, definitely a limited window for trip planning. Ongoing maintenance can also be a factor since summer is the only time they can do it, so check before you go. We visited in early August. It was peak wildflower season with the snow mostly melted, beautiful weather, this was probably the best time of year to go. And I'm so glad we got to see the park like this.
There's so many trees like that kind of block your view from like the entire sky. We're out here right at the visitor center. It's set up. It's like a perfect spot for it. And there is like no light pollution out here.
So let's talk about the Red Bus history. In the 1930s, the National Park Service decided to standardize all of the touring buses used in the National Park system. White Motor Company submitted the winning proposal for a 17-passenger bus. They were designed with a rollback canvas top, perfect for visitors to get full views of Glacier's stunning mountains and vertical scenery. In addition to the 2 front seats, the buses were designed with 4 rows of seats, each row with its own door for easy passenger access. All the side windows could roll down to enjoy the fresh mountain air and better visibility.
Everybody get ready. Tunnel time.
That's right.
Rocky time.
Peek out the window over here to the left. Have it speak.
Over 500 white model 706 buses were manufactured for the Western parks, including Bryce Canyon, Yellowstone, Glacier, the Grand Canyon, Mount Rainier, Yosemite, and Zion. Each park made minor changes to the buses for their parks and adopted their own color scheme. Glacier National Park chose red and black to match the color of a ripe Cascade Mountain Ash berry. Glacier received a total of 35 touring buses. Each bus was given a number according to when it was put into service in Glacier Park. We rode on red number 107.
Nice little drop there.
Pushing you out.
As time went on, visitors preferred driving their own vehicles through the parks and the buses started disappearing, except for Glacier Park. The Going to the Sun Road is so stunning with its breathtaking drop-offs, many people preferred not to drive it in their own vehicles. Some famous Red Riders include Clark Gable, Carol Lombard, William Randolph Hearst, then Vice President George H. Bush, the Queen of the Netherlands, and Robin Williams.
That used to be flowing really hard when I first started. It didn't take it long, but a week and it slowed down really fast. It's just barely coming out.
The Reds are also called jammer buses from the days when they had manual transmissions. Drivers would jam the gears when they double clutched as they maneuvered up and down the steep terrain of the Going to the Sun Road. Even though the buses now have automatic transmission, drivers are still referred to as jammers. Through the 1970s, Red Bus drivers were typically college-aged men, mostly pre-law or pre-med. Nowadays, drivers are more likely to be retired, working summers for fun. Our guide Kurt was a prime example. He had 2 grown daughters off on their own, and he was living the good life, working summers as a jammer on this stunning road, and winters as a head valet at a ski resort or sometimes a desert resort, traveling in between in the fall and spring. I gotta say, I kinda envied his lifestyle.
What is that, the building on the side of the road?
Yeah, that's a $2.8 million bathroom. It's all made out of McGregor limestone. Yeah, I mean, you see how far Logan Pass is just
Ridiculous.
10 minutes away. I don't understand.
The blue with the view.
You couldn't hold it another 10 minutes. They had to build a $2.8 million
People are even taking pictures of it.
facility there. It's incredible.
There it is, 2.8 million. Yeah.
Over time, the buses started breaking down. In 1989, they were fitted with automatic transmissions, but metal fatigue and mechanical problems still remained an issue. Actually, when touring the park in the 1990s, it was pretty common to see Reds stranded on the side of the road. Visitors would wait for another Red to come along so they could continue their tour. After being in service for over 6 decades, in 1999, due to old age, metal fatigue, safety issues, and liability, Glacier National Park Red buses were retired from service. At this time, they guessed that each Red bus had traveled over 600,000 miles, with the oldest having been on the road for more more than 64 years. They were believed to be the oldest fleet of touring buses in the world and were replaced with contemporary 15-passenger vans.
So hang off there on ropes with hand tools, picking away, 5 feet a day.
Here's my red bus shot. Oh my god, I've been waiting all day for this.
Oh my gosh, that's actually on one of our ads.
Just keep rolling.
What is it?
Drive
Like-
normal. Oh, the red bus is coming our way. We gotta get it to the windshield. There it goes. Oh.
That's Rich. You got a good shot there. That's the guy that's been doing this for 33 years.
Oh, good one.
you got the
Yay,
Yeah, you got the
finally.
freaking battle ball veterans. What a guy too. What a great guy. God, the photo album that he has.
Oh, I can
Oh my
imagine.
goodness.
Now, this is where Kurt told us a really cool story about industry stepping in to help the parks. I know a lot of people like to vilify big companies these days, and yeah, some of them truly are awful. But in 1999, Ford Motor Company stepped up to the plate and saved the day. Ford had participated in some workshops hosted by the National Park Service to explore alternative transportation technology. Here, Ford learned about the issues of Glacier National Park red buses. They visited the park in 2000, took a look at the situation with the buses, and said, hey, we can fix these. And they took on the Red Bus Restoration Project to return this experience to Glacier National Park.
Prairie dogs.
So later that year, number 98 was sent to Inkster, Michigan, and the restoration process began. About a year later, it returned to Glacier Park to great fanfare, and it was estimated to have cost around $1 million to restore, since nobody knew what they were doing with these old vehicles, and they had to reverse engineer everything along the way. So taking what they learned from working on the first bus, Ford created a plan to restore the entire fleet except for 2, which were left in their original configuration for historical purposes.
Little meadow with all the water down there. I always think I can see like a bunch of moose there, a bunch of bears. And
The plan included a new Ford E450 chassis modified to fit the red bus body, a new fuel-injected 5.4-liter V8 bi-fuel engine capable of running on either gas or propane, a new production 4-wheel disc ABS brake system, a new exhaust system, a new concept isolation sled to insulate body from chassis noise and vibration, refurbished ergonomic fire retardant seats for the driver and passengers, lighter weight rear door and body reinforcements, upgraded safety glass windows and external lights, an upgraded instrument panel, a new public address system, new running boards consistent with the original design, and a heater. The original bodies of the buses were carefully removed from the chassis, and damaged areas were repaired, cleaned, and repainted in the original color.
just getting back from doing that whole job. No shade.
New sheet metal or fiberglass components were blended into the vehicle wherever needed, door latches were replaced, and the plywood floors were replaced with an aerospace aluminum honeycomb floor to increase strength and reduce weight. Kurt told us that they do safety checks every day on these buses and that maintenance is an ongoing issue handled by a trained specialist in Columbia Falls. Today, each red bus is estimated to be worth about $250,000. Ford Motor Company donated over $6 million to renovate 33 of these buses, keeping them in service and preserving this bit of American history. This is the kind of corporate stewardship that makes America great.
Oh my goodness.
Think we're gonna see
We were checking into the campground yesterday. I asked the guy, "You think we'll see any waterfalls up there?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's waterfalls.
Yeah, there's over 1,000 waterfalls.
There's some
in the park.
waterfalls there."
That's right.
When the buses returned to the park in June of 2002, the community celebrated in a snowstorm, thrilled that this amazing experience had been revived for generations to come. Today, over 60,000 visitors enjoy a jammer tour each year.
You guys want to do a prairie dog here? Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Hoping this is enough room, yeah?
So, would I do a red bus tour again? Absolutely. Our guide Kurt was awesome. He pointed out waterfalls, mountains, glaciers, animals, hikes, overlooks, and told us stories from the park all along the way.
There's a waterfall. You can see that. There's so much to take pictures of.
335.
About the Indians, the railroad builders, the road builders, the night of the grizzlies. It's a fantastic introduction to the park that can help you decide where to go next when exploring on your own. Although you can't control where you stop, Kurt often pulled over wherever he could, and we always had reserved parking at the major stops, a godsend in these busy areas. We had no stress about driving because we didn't have to. The windows and skylights were great for taking pictures and soaking up the sights, sounds, and smells. So that's what we focused on.
And so we're like, we're going to be stuck out here. And it says the park closes.
Sorry, but
I never felt rushed or hurried, and Kurt even got us to McDonald Lodge for lunch before the sandwiches ran out, taking care to park in the shade so that we wouldn't burn our butts on the seats after lunch. It's the little things like that that add up to an extraordinary experience. These tours aren't cheap, but they are accessible, and I would highly recommend this to anyone, especially if you only have one day in the park. Do this. Sadly, we did not see any bears this time around, but we did see some of the most amazing mountain views I've ever laid eyes on, and that's plenty. Huckleberry honey. Yeah. Next time, we'll be headed to Big Fork to explore more of Montana's beautiful Flathead Valley.